if I could just show, this is a model of the brain that shows the amount of absorption into the brain of an adult. It only goes about 2 inches into the brain. This is a model of the same part of the brain near the ear of a 5-year-old child. This goes pretty far into the brain, and I think that's something that the FCC should consider to talk about the amount of absorption into the brains of children as opposed to adults.
This model, Dr. Herbermann, is, an adult brain model. Is that what you're saying?
That's correct.
And then where does on this model, where's the cell phone?
The thing sticking out on the side is the cardboard thing is in
the cell phone is right here.
Right there.
Okay, so the cell phone is here, and what you're saying is that, and this actually, so we're trying to keep this close to the model. The cell phone is here, and you're saying that the directed energy from that cell phone goes in like this and then expands outward into the tissue of the brain. Now, this would be a model of a child's brain at what age?
5 years old.
5-year-old child. Do you have research that shows, or public health research, Dr. Carpenter, that 5-year-old children will use a cell phone? Is that possible?
I've had inquiries from parents of 2-year-old children who give them their child the on-cell phone to play with. I don't think most 5-year-olds are making phone calls, but when kids get in elementary school, then they begin.
So, okay, now here we've seen the effect. Here's the adult brain effect of use of the cell phone, and then we look at the child again. So the cell phone is here. Is that right?
Correct.
Cell phone's here, and it's a very deep penetration, you're saying. Now, is this kind of penetration of the energy of a cell phone, the radio frequencies, radiation, we're saying, would you say that from looking at this visually, is it your testimony that most of the brain of a child would receive some of this energy?
That's correct. Most of the brain, at least on that side of the head, would be absorbing that energy. And it's a simple explanation for it. One is that the skull is considerably thinner in a child, and it doesn't reach maturity until the 20s. In addition to that, the nerves in the brain in an adult are protected by a myelin sheath. In children, the myelin has not fully developed, so there's several reasons for the increased absorption in a child.
What is the strongest evidence you have that exposure to a cell phone causes cancer?
The work that's been done on the COMET assay that shows double-strand breaks in DNA after exposure to cell phone radiation is very strong evidence experimentally. If we tie that with the human studies of Dr. Sadetsky and others that have looked at people who have 10 years of exposure or more, we put that together and we have strong evidence.
But if I have a cell phone, and I ask your professional opinion on this, and I was going to talk on it like this, or if I could use this device here, which I plug into it, and then put this in my ear, like this, and hold this away from me, and I could talk here. There's my little microphone here. In your advice, which would be best for me to do?
My understanding is that the position that you're holding the phone now is preferable to up against your head.
Preferable to holding it up to your ear. So you would advise people who might be using cell phones as a precaution, because we don't know the weight, but if they can do this, they would be better to have some kind of device like this.
As I understand it, yes.
Did you know that cell phone, the one in your pocket, emits radio frequency radiation? as long as your phone's turned on, even if you're not talking or texting.
The American Academy of Pediatrics in over a dozen countries recommends reducing children's exposure to wireless radiation.
When using a cell phone, I always keep it away from my body. I use speakerphone or a headset like this.
To stop microwave exposure, I put my phone on airplane mode and turn off Wi-Fi and Bluetooth function.
I hold the phone at a distance and make sure it's not touching my body.
Cell phones are not toys. Children's brains and bodies are still developing and are vulnerable to wireless radiation. Practice safe and responsible habits with yourself and your children.
When using the computer, I always try to make sure my connection is corded, not wireless.
Remember not to use your cell phone in the car. The phone works at higher power in metal surroundings and bounces around, increasing your family's radiation exposure.
For their safety.
For your safety.
Because children are more vulnerable.
Remind them.
Remind yourself
To limit your microwave radiation exposures. Probably the most important thing I did, I was involved as a young scientist in the committee that actually reviewed the data and recommended that there be no smoking on airplanes. You may be shocked to hear that it was even a question for science at the time, but it was. And when I look at what we know now about mobile phone radiation, I see some very interesting similarities.
A growing number of prominent doctors and scientists are raising warning flags over radiation this morning, and your kids could be facing a greater risk of exposure.
I think the most important study is a study by the National Toxicology Program in a classic large carcinogenicity test, one of the largest ever performed, and for that matter, one of the most expensive. They found increased risk of the tumors which we believe radiofrequency radiation is causing in man. Particular tumors called schwannomas. In the rats, they were in the heart. In humans, they're often in the nerve, the ear nerve, the vestibular nerve.
Cell phone providers say they follow all safety guidelines put into place by the FCC. The current FCC safety standard was developed nearly 20 years ago.
The manufacturers actually tell people in the instruction manual, which I never read, not to put the cell phone against your ear.
It does say exactly that. There's the BlackBerry, for example, warns to keep your phone at least 0.98 inches away from the body when transmitting. With an iPhone, for example, it's 5/8 of an inch.
At this point, the evidence has become sufficiently strong that cell phone radiation is a human carcinogen.
A major development from California's Department of Public Health. High use of cell phones may be linked to certain types of cancer and other health effects, including brain cancer and tumors, lower sperm counts, headaches, and effects on learning, memory, hearing, behavior, and sleep.
If it was a real problem, I would know. If it was a real problem, the government would protect us. How come I'm not hearing about this? They're all things I've heard when I give seminars. You know, I get up there and they say, oh yeah, if this was really a problem, they would have told us. I am they. I am a, legitimate scientist, and I am telling you.